Thank you all very much.
Push the button, yeah.
Okay. Thank you all very much.
There we go. Thank you all very much. I'll say it 3 times for that nice round of applause. Thank you guys all very much. So yeah, like I said, I'll kind of handle it like, everybody else has been doing and open it for a brief, question and answer. If anybody has a question about what I was playing there, the techniques, or me, my training, my business, my lessons business. Does anybody have any questions about any of that stuff? Yes, sir.
How much do you charge for lessons?
I do. Well, we'll talk about it. So, I charge comparable to what other people charge on a monthly rate. I do weekly lessons at 30 minutes each, billed at a monthly rate. The only reason why I'm being nondescript about it is because I don't actually know that I can fit any more in at the moment, so I have to be a waitlist. So. Mm-hmm.
And you teach your students, how to read at all different sight reading levels?
Yes, me being a classical musician, I teach my students the right way to do it, so it's proper technique and how to read music and things like that. And if they're interested in it long enough, I teach them about like applied music theory, which was kind of like what you guys were doing, improvising, knowing your scales and things like that. Or if they write songs or something like that, we do that. Actually, with my teaching site, we're getting more stuff in the community, kind of like this, and there's some good stuff going on with people who write music here in town too. I'm trying to turn it more into a kind of the glue to bring a bunch of musicians here together, doing a lot of different things. For example, there's a pretty big music publisher who just moved in from Nashville, Tennessee, which means that he owns a publishing company and he has staff writers who write songs. And there have been some people who have actually written some really big hits too. So I'm setting something up with the teachers on the site who write, and him will do it next week or the week after that too. So, anybody else have any questions? Yes, sir.
If you were an instructor, how can we link up with you?
I'm sorry, ask that question again. If you wanted to join the site?
If I'm an instructor, what's the avenue to get to link up with your site to?
Well, very simple. I'll give you my number right after this. But if you go to the site also, which is just lessonslasvegas.com, You can actually sign up for free on there too, and the site is open at the moment for full features and access to it also.
What's kind of the process like? We be featured as a teacher or for like bass or piano?
Yeah, so you can actually fill out, there's everything on the site. There's about 30 instruments on the site. So everything from drums, all the classic stuff, keys, there's DJs on the site, things like that too. So it's all the way across, and you can fill out any category at the moment that you teach in too. And we also offer things like music, there's teachers that teach, music theory tutoring and stuff like that on there, and that's one of the categories also for that. But I'll be happy to show you the site too. So.
Do you have an AV branch as well?
No, actually, that's interesting. So, yeah, that would be something to get into. Though. Yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you very much. So you get a finder's fee, sir. So, thank you. Anybody else? Yes.
Also, the piece that you displayed, was that more so like classically based?
It's not exactly classically based. If it were classically based, I played in the classical position for it with it, which is, if you saw me play, I elevated my left leg and I had it over my knee like this, which centers the guitar in your body more too. So when it's like this, I have access to everything easier than if I'm playing over my right knee like this, because now I have to reach across my body for it. Also, it makes it much more complicated to play something like that. Also, that wasn't exactly classical though. That's more fingerstyle percussive things. There's a few artists who write in that. If you like that stuff, that was by a fellow named Justin King. Andy McKee is another really big fingerstyle guitarist who writes in the same kind of style as that
How
too.
long did it take you to perfect that?
Well, pretty quick. I put a lot of time into music. To be honest with you, I probably put about 40,000 hours into music over the years. I'm pretty obsessed with it. So. Classical training certainly helps with that, and jazz too. I think knowing those two styles really help quite a bit, though. Also, that one though, if I hadn't played stuff like that already, that one would have bothered me because the techniques, like getting both hands going, is not something that guitarists do. That's a percussive thing or a keyboardist thing, So if I hadn't already done some music like that, it would have taken me a lot longer than it did. I think part of the reason why I can do that stuff quickly is because your technique builds over the years, and the more that you do, when you first start, you don't have any technique. You just have to learn songs, and then as you build your technique, it gets easier and easier and quicker to do stuff. So, yeah. Any more questions, guys? Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any pieces that are composed by Baroque artists or Romantic period artists?
I do. I've played a lot of that stuff. So in the classical guitar repertoire, Baroque was not. Now this isn't an alternate tuning right now for this, so I can't really play it like right now because the tuning wouldn't allow me to do that for it. But for Baroque music, that's artists like the big three from that time period would be Bach, Vivaldi, and Handel also. So everybody is at least familiar probably with Bach too. And the guitar wasn't an instrument really at that stage, at that time period. So Bach that people play are more transcriptions. So the Bach that I play is transcriptions of cello pieces or violin works or keyboard pieces on the guitar, things like that too. And then the time period after that, which is the classical time period, that's when the guitar pretty much came into the forefront too, or it started to develop, I guess would be a better way to say it. And so people actually started writing for guitar then. So by the time you get into the Romantic period, which is the other time period that she asked about, so it goes Baroque, classical, and then Romantic. By the time you get to the Romantic time period, you actually have guitarists who are writing for this instrument also, and composers who are writing specifically for this. So there are probably a bunch of people you've never heard of before, because nobody really listens to classical guitar, or know that it's a classical guitarist. There is a substantial repertoire that started around the classical time period, and it really developed into the Romantic period too. So.
You play Torrega?
I've played some Torrega before, yeah. I've played a lot of Torrega, actually.
Carcassi?
We've played a lot of the Carcassi studies, things like that.
Mario Giuliani.
Giuliani, yes, all that. So, Torrega, the composer he wrote, was one of the prominent, the composer he was referencing, was one of the most prominent composers of guitar music, Spanish traditional. Early 20th century, late Romantic period composer. And then the other two that he mentioned, Carcassi and Giuliani, were more in the classical time period. So when they were writing a lot of studies for the guitar and things like that because it was coming out, at that time. So, yeah. Did you play that stuff?
I did in high school.
Yeah, you did. Okay. Did you go to high school here?
Yeah.
Okay. So the guitar programs are pretty big here in Las Vegas. It's something that Vegas actually does really well. So, yeah.
I did in Bill Street.
Oh yeah, you were at LVA. Yeah. Okay. I know Bill really well actually. So yeah.
Wow.
Any more questions? No? Well, with that, I will turn it back over to Roderick. So thank you guys again for having me. It's a blast. I love playing for people and talking about music. Thank you guys.